This is my project, e.a.r.t.h.a.i, that combines the power of augmented reality and artificial intelligence to help climate change. You can ask anything to learn more about climate change in your life.
Welcome, I am the enhanced augmented responsive technology holographic artificial intelligence, but my friends call me e.a.r.t.h.a.i or e.a.r.t.h.a.i. Touch the mic to ask me anything or touch the menu to explore.
Tell me about climate change and how I can help today.
Climate change is caused by the increase of greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide, in the atmosphere, which results in a rise in global temperatures. The effects of climate change can impact everything from sea levels, weather patterns to food production. In order to help today, you can start by making small changes to reduce your own carbon footprint. This includes reducing energy consumption, using energy-efficient appliances and light bulbs, reducing water usage, recycling, choosing sustainable products, and reducing your meat consumption. Every action, no matter how small, can make a difference.
Tell me about the animals in your time and impacts.
In my time, the impact of climate change on animals was devastating. Many species had already gone extinct and others were on the brink of extinction due to extreme weather changes, habitat loss, and human activity. For example, by 2123, the Great Barrier Reef had already died off, resulting in significant losses in biodiversity and food production.
How does traveling affect climate change?
Traveling, whether by car, plane, or boat, has a significant impact on climate change due to the amount of carbon emissions they produce. Carbon emissions contribute significantly to the greenhouse effect, which in turn is responsible for global warming. Whenever you travel, you emit greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide, which contribute to global climate change. However, there are many things you can do to reduce your carbon footprint while traveling, such as taking public transportation, driving a hybrid or electric vehicle, limiting your air travel, and offsetting your carbon emissions.
Tell me more about impacts of climate change on my travel.
Your travel contributes to increasing carbon emissions, which exacerbate climate change. Carbon emissions from cars, planes, and boats are one of the biggest contributors to the rise of greenhouse gases, which in turn causes shifts in weather patterns, rising temperatures, melting glaciers, sea level rise, and the loss of biodiversity. As a result of melting glaciers and rising sea levels, coastal areas and islands are at risk of being submerged, and we could see more frequent and severe floods, droughts, storms, and heat waves. Climate change also impacts tourism destinations, putting many of them at risk of disappearing or becoming less popular due to changing weather patterns. That's why it's essential to adopt sustainable travel practices to minimize your impact on the environment and help lessen the effects of climate change.
How can I help?
To reduce your carbon footprint, you can start by driving less or driving a fuel-efficient car. Do you know what type of car you drive? If so, I can calculate your carbon footprint based on your car and show you ways to reduce it.
I drive a Chevy Equinox 2019 and I fill up my car once a week.
Thanks for letting me know. Based on your car and the number of times you fuel up each week, your carbon footprint from driving alone is approximately 4.62 metric tons of CO2 per year. That's a significant amount, but there are many ways you can reduce it. For example, you could consider carpooling or using public transportation instead of driving alone, or switching to a more fuel-efficient car in the future. Additionally, you can reduce your carbon footprint further by reducing energy consumption at home, being mindful of the products you buy and their environmental impact, and properly disposing of waste.
What about even more impacts from travel? I'm finishing up a trip right now.
When it comes to traveling, your carbon footprint will vary depending on the mode of transportation. Air travel is particularly carbon intensive, with an average carbon footprint of 0.34 kilograms CO2 per passenger mile. Driving is also carbon intensive, as your car produces emissions that contribute to your personal carbon footprint. To determine the carbon footprint of your trip, we would need to know the specific modes of transportation you used and the distance traveled. However, in general, it's best to be mindful of the carbon footprint of your travel and try to reduce it where possible. For example, you can consider using public transportation, train travel, or electric cars whenever possible.
What about the impacts of the ecosystem of climate change?
Climate change has had a profound impact on ecosystems around the world, leading to extinctions, changes in migration patterns, and other disruptions to the natural world. The increase in temperatures caused by climate change is causing some species to migrate to cooler areas or change the timing of their annual life cycles.
Tell me more about animals that are impacted.
The impact of climate change on animals is widespread and devastating. As temperatures continue to rise, many species are struggling to adapt to the changing conditions, and some are already facing extinction. For example, many species of birds and butterflies are finding themselves out of sync with the timing of seasonal events, such as the blooming of flowers or the hatching of insects. Some polar bear populations are declining rapidly due to the loss of their sea ice habitat, and coral reefs around the world are experiencing mass bleaching events that threaten the survival of countless marine species. Additionally, deforestation, land use change, and other human activities are leading to habitat loss and fragmentation, making it even more difficult for species to survive in the face of climate change.